of necessary medicines. Essential medicines. Ensure that you remain connected with your local networks for any support and follow the medical guidelines provided by your health facility to prevent coronavirus. Remember to stay updated with information on coronavirus using only trusted reliable channels. For more information on COVID-19, call 719 or dial *719#. COVID-19 is preventable. Protect yourself, your family, and the community. This message has been brought to you by the Government of Kenya and its partners.
Oh, good evening and thank you for joining us for tonight's edition of Channel One Weekend with me, Richard Munga. Sign language interpreter is Byron Abuli, and once again welcome as we bring you the latest news, be it local, be it international, and of course today being a sports day we have a couple of sports stories lined up. But before we get into the main stories tonight, let's have a look at the news making headlines.
Unraveling murder mystery. Key suspect in the murder of National Land Commission employee Jennifer WAMBUA has been arrested. And death before judgment. Nyeriman, accused of plotting his son's murder, dies 3 days to scheduled court appearance. Also, 18-ton debris from Chinese rocket on a free fall to Earth. Where will it land? And from a banker to ornamental bird farming, the story of Runyenje's Peter Kenywa.
Welcome back. Now on to a top story tonight, whereby detectives have arrested the key suspect in the murder of National Land Commission employee Jennifer WAMBUA. Peter Mwangi Njenga, alias Ole Sankale, was picked up yesterday following combined efforts of 4 investigative agencies that were probing the mid-March murder. Jackie Wambiru with that report.
Homicide detectives, through a multi-sectoral approach, have made a major breakthrough in nailing the main suspect involved in the gruesome murder of Jennifer WAMBUA. Peter Mwangi Njenga, alias Ole Sankale, was identified as the main suspect. Detectives first placed the suspect at the scene of crime and managed to establish eyewitnesses who saw the suspect with the deceased the last time she was seen alive on March 12, 2021. After thoroughly combing the scene, they managed to pick crucial exhibits. The forensic results positively matched the suspect. In a murder most foul, the body of the deceased had been found half naked by detectives who suspected that she had been sexually assaulted before being murdered in cold blood. An autopsy report issued by the government pathologist Dr. Johansen Oduor indeed confirmed that there was sexual contact with her killers. Following investigations, detectives established that the suspect had indeed interacted and spent quite some time with the deceased at the location where the body was later discovered. It was also established that the area is often visited by pilgrims for spiritual intentions. It was established that the suspect prayed on the deceased as she prayed before he made his move to sexually assault her and strangle her to death. After profiling the suspect, it was confirmed that the suspect was a jailbird. The criminal data system shows the suspect had committed similar offenses using the same manner of committing robbery and thereafter repeatedly sexually abusing the victims by raping and killing them. The arrest was the combined efforts of the DCI detectives, Crime Research and Intelligence Bureau officers, cybercrime detectives and special service unit officers. Reporting for Channel 1 News, I'm Jackie Wambiru.
Meanwhile, prominent Nyeri businessman Stephen Kenini Wangondo, who is accused of hiring hitmen to kill his biological son, is dead. The 74-year-old had been admitted to Mount Kenya Hospital before being transferred to the Outspan Hospital in Nyeri town, where he died yesterday. The businessman was charged, of course, in court alongside 4 others who were said to have been hired hitmen at the cost of 160,000 shillings. Wangondo and his accomplices denied committing the heinous act and were last week released on 1 million shilling bond after spending 4 months in remand. The matter was set to come up for mention on Monday next week for further direction. Kenya's coronavirus infection rate on Saturday stood at 12.4% after 572 new infections were recorded in the last 24 hours. The new cases are from 4,624 samples that were screened. Now, 18-ton debris from a Chinese rocket is on a free fall to Earth from the space, and it is not yet clear where it's going to land. China has reportedly agreed to take responsibility for any damage arising from the debris. According to Dr. Geoffrey Okengo, who is an expert in space matters, Kenyan scientists are keenly following on the observations of the debris, whose entry to the atmosphere is expected this weekend. The astrophysicist spoke to Serafina Robi.
This is the presumed picture of debris and other space junk from a Chinese rocket that has sparked debate. This comes with a sparked debate of debris from a Chinese rocket. The debris from the main segment of the Long March 5B vehicle was used to launch the first module of the Chinese space station. According to the BBC, the US on Thursday said it was watching the path of the object but currently had no plans to shoot it down. Subsequently, the US Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin indirectly criticized China, saying there was a need to make sure that we take those kind of things into consideration. China has reportedly agreed to take responsibility for any damage arising from the debris. We spoke to Dr. Geoffrey Okengo to understand the heated debate across the globe on what could have gone wrong.
Security is very important, and the security of a rocket that is launched depends on the type of rocket. The type of rocket that was launched by the Chinese is called the Long March 5B rocket. It's a very simplified model that is not very expensive, but that comes at a cost that after it deploys the experiment that it's sending to space, when it's coming back, it's not automated, and therefore it cannot be controlled. It's just left on its own to come back on its own.
In 2020, similar debris was discovered in Ivory Coast.
Another rocket launched by the Chinese again, which is of the same form like this one, just small remains were detected in Ivory Coast, in a rural area in Ivory Coast. And there were no people there, so just some piece of metal.
With the second debris of the Chinese rocket headed for Earth, the world is pointing a finger to China.
The US and other governments has that the Chinese are a bit careless because such a massive experiment requires that safety is put into consideration.
With the estimated landing of the debris approximated at a latitude of 41.5 degrees north or south, while it's unable to be directed to a safe place.
And when a satellite is in a low orbit, what that means is that the velocity is not very high because of what we call the drag. That is the friction between the air and the rocket itself. So that slows it down. And when it slows it down, because it's orbiting the Earth, it loses altitude. That means it continually becomes lower. It comes lower, it falls. And as that continues, there reaches a point where it will plunge into the Earth's atmosphere.
More importantly, why can't it burn up once it gets to the atmosphere?
The burning up of this debris is a probability. Okay, it depends on the environment and the conditions under which the satellite is falling or the rocket is falling. So you cannot say with certainty that this one is going to burn.
Dr. Kengo expounds on what will happen in case of any damages.
The Chinese will be sued, actually, according to the international space law. They have to take responsibility.
Concerns of space junk and its impact continue to dominate.
But as you say, it's an issue of concern because people are launching small satellites like what Kenya launched a few years ago.
In 2019, Kenya, in partnership with Japan, was able to launch a nano-satellite.
It was launched from Japan. It was a collaboration between our university, the University of Nairobi, and the Italians. Okay. And it's just a small piece.
Kenyan scientists call for more advancement in space technology in the country.
The country has not done enough, but the establishment of the Kenya Space Agency is one step forward towards realizing this. But my feeling is that we are too slow. So, in the world of science, it's the country that decides the way they want to move on.
Well, this comes at a time when the Chinese are expected to put up a space station by 2022, with more countries aspiring to launch satellites into space. Now, the statement in question is what mitigation measures are being put in place to avert any dangers in the future. For Channel 1 News, I'm Serafina Robbie.
Indeed, that is quite interesting, and any updates related to that story will be coming to you in subsequent bulletins, as well as you can check out the stories on our website, that is www.kbc.co.ke. Now, moving on to other matters, female journalists in the country now say they are forced out of the practice due to gender biases, unfair competition and unfriendly working environment. Through the Kenya chapter of the International Association of Women in Radio and Television, the journalists are rooting for concerted efforts by all players in the industry to create safe spaces for them to thrive.
That's Michael Bolton with Love is a Wonderful Thing. It's playing on the Breakfast Show 2021 here on KBC.
In the fast-paced, dynamic and ever-evolving world of media, survival for the fittest has been the mantra, a craft that has proven difficult for many to master, with female journalists saying they are the most affected. Female journalists face a myriad of gender-related challenges to career advancement, which include discrimination in leadership, unsatisfactory maternity policies, and sexual harassment. It is these challenges that concern many upcoming female journalists like Caroline Boyani.
When we were joining, we were told that, journalism, there are no jobs, there's sexual harassment.
Boyani is a second-year student at the Technical University of Mombasa, pursuing journalism and mass communication.
Thank you and welcome to 9 PM News. I'm your presenter, Carol Boyani.
Her dream is to become an award-winning print journalist. In a bid to help her realize her dream and give female journalists like her a fighting chance, the International Association of Women in Radio and Television launched a mentorship program for young female journalists.
We realized many students, especially female students, are falling out of journalism and going into what we call soft areas like PR, communication. We want them to be journalists, The
program, which is being supported by the U.S. Embassy, also seeks to ensure that the mentees are equipped with skills which will give them a competitive advantage when they join the media industry.
We want these young women to have the opportunity to meet people who have already pressed ahead in the profession and be able to advance and get to know a path forward for themselves and learn how to do that.
Mentoring these young people means disabusing them of their insecurities and also just trying to help them find their path.
Boyani is among the 50 female students drawn from 5 institutions of higher learning who form the 4th cohort of those who have undergone the program, which the previous participants term as a game changer in their career paths.
We would basically be going on this journey with our mentees where they would guide us on how to cope with this life in the journalism world, what to do and what not to do, what to expect.
With the mentorship program, I've learned to be bold and to stand up for myself because of the stories that we've heard from the women in the media who have been here for years.
Aside from such mentorship programs, media stakeholders also call for a multi-pronged approach in addressing gender biases and discrimination in the profession.
We are working with the media houses on gender policies to encourage media houses to have internal gender policies. Then obviously the issue of trainings. We are doing trainings on gender-sensitive reporting. We have produced manual, and this again will take time as we train on the gender-sensitive reporting, and that now is targeting especially the coverage of women in news.
The mentees under the program will be attached to accomplished female journalists who will help them learn to navigate in the world of journalism.
Welcome to our 9 p.m. news. I'm your presenter, Caroline Boyani, and these are the highlights. Today at Brackenhurst, Limuru, we'll be having the 2021 Highwatt Mentorship. Reporting for Channel 1 News, I'm Safin Acheng Ouma.
Meanwhile, President Uhuru Kenyatta has sent a message of condolence to the family, friends and relatives of former Nairobi County Speaker Alex Ole Magelo, who has passed away at a Nairobi hospital. In his message of comfort and encouragement, President Kenyatta described the late Ole Magelo as an outstanding leader who worked hard to make Kenya a better country for all. The head of state said the late Ole Magelo's commitment to duty and service to fellow Kenyans saw him appointed as a member of the Kenya Leather Development Council back in 2020. Also, a section of ODM leaders now say there is no room for fence-sitting in the ongoing push for constitutional review. Led by Ugunja Member of Parliament Opiyo Wandayi, the leaders challenged their colleagues who are yet to adopt the party position to declare their stand on the document. Yusuf Farah with the details.
Buoyed by the overwhelming endorsement of the BBI bill by the National Assembly, proponents of the document are firing on all cylinders. The bullseye appears to be those who had opposed the bill or are seemingly reluctant to declare their stand on the constitutional amendment process.
Where we have reached, there is no more debate, really. It's a question of choice. You are either with us on this BBI train or you are not with us. And if you are not with us, you should have the courage to vote no. Yeah, vote no at whatever stage.
Those of us who may be down must follow and must agree in terms of leadership from those that are up. That's why they are up there. And that's exactly where we are. We must follow exactly what our leadership says and what our leadership really brings in front for us.
Some ranking members of the ODM party, such as Siaya Senator James Orengo, have maintained that they will be led by conscience and not political whim. At the foot of Mount Kenya, those that voted against the bill are also receiving their fair share of the tirade. Next week, the Senate will have its say on the amendment bill. Post-Parliament, the Constitution of Kenya Amendment Bill will have to await the outcome of various legal hurdles before Kenyans can have their say on the document in a plebiscite. Yusuf Farah, Channel 1 News.
Now, from a banker to a farmer of ornamental birds, well, it may sound a big gamble, but far from it. Peter Kenyo from Runyenjes in EMBU County is reaping big, making a clean profit of 100,000 shillings on monthly average. So, what is ornamental bird farming? Let's find out.
35-year-old Kenyo, a father of 2, says he invested the amount saved from the temporary tax relief courtesy of the advent of COVID-19 in the country. That amount, added to the money he had saved for school fees, provided him with the much-needed capital to start ornamental birds business.
Nilikuwa nafanya kazi katika banki moja huku Kenya, na wakati corona ilikuja, mnakumbuka kwamba tuliambiwa lazima tupunguze idadi ya wafanyikazi kwa sababu ya congestion. Kwa hivyo mimi nilikuwa katika department ya field, ambao sana tulikuwa tunahusika na kukutana na wakulima katika vikundi. Kwa hivyo ikakuwa lazima tufanye kazi kutoka nyumbani. Kitu ya kwanza ili nipatia muda enough time ya kufanya kazi yangu.
The ambitious entrepreneur said he started with a capital of 20,000 shillings, where 5,000 was for purchasing the first batch of birds, while the rest of the money went into construction of structures. He said he started with one variety of birds, geese, before roping in other birds, adding that currently he has 36 varieties of ornamental birds.
Defense ya kwanza katika ukulima ya kuku na magonjwa ya kuku ni usafi. Lazima uhakikisha kwamba kwako kuna usafi. Kusikae wiki mzima kama kujafakiwa, kusikae wiki mzima kama kujapigwa ile dawa ya kuua wadudu, kwa sababu wale kuku wako very sensitive. Ukiwaachilia magonjwa yanawamaliza.
Kenya realized the business was worthwhile, hence his decision to quit his banking job. He has not regretted the move.
Lakini sasa vile corona ilikuja pia nikapata muda wa kuweza kujaribu mambo mingi. Kitambo sikuwa na muda wa kufanya kazi kama hii, lakini kwa sababu tuliambiwa tufanye kazi kutoka nyumbani, nikakuwa niko na muda enough time ya kufanya kazi yangu.
Comparing the usual rearing of poultry with ornamental birds, Kenya is of the opinion that though the investment in feeds is almost the same, ornamental birds attract a much better return on investment. For instance, Kenya sells a mature goose at 1,500 shillings, but a mature ornamental bird such as ringneck can range between 60,000 and 70,000 shillings.
Hii ni kazi ambayo inalipa sana kwa sababu hawa ni aina ya ndege, lakini sio kama vile kuku. Ndege mmoja, for example, yule wanaitwa ringneck pheasants. Ringneck pheasant, one pair itagharimu kutoka 60,000 to 70,000.
On average, he earns over 100,000 shillings monthly after deducting the cost of production. Interestingly, the entrepreneur says after feeding his flock of birds, he plays some cool, soothing music to entertain the birds so as to encourage them to lay more eggs. He is one of the few in this unique farming and who are on a social media platform where they assist one another to look for new markets.
Changamoto ambayo nimepata katika ukulima ya kuku. Kitu ya kwanza, hawa si ndege wa kawaida. Sana ni ndege ambao walikuwa ni wa msituni, lakini binadamu akaamua watakuwa domesticated. Aina ya kanga ni ndege wa msituni. Kwa hivyo kupata wale ndege, kitu ya kwanza ni bei iko juu.
His goal is to one day start exporting ornamental birds.
Quite an interesting report right there. And, well, what has it that the birds, of course, have leaner meat than normal chicken. And, of course, also they're more resistant to disease than chicken. Well, remember, you can always comment on that story and more via social media platforms. Engage us on Facebook at KBC Channel 1 and on Twitter. Also tweet us at KBC Channel 1. Tweet me at Munga_Mbatia. Well, more stories coming up next. See you shortly.
Je, umeomoka? Kama hujaomoka kwenye QuickBin ndio mambo yote. Hapa tuko na fridge, kodi yake ni CM. Tuko na gas cooker, kodi yake ni CK. Tuko na TV, kodi yake ni TV. Tuko na simu aina ya Samsung ni SM, ama Oppo ni Oppo. My friend, mahali popote unanitizama, eka hizo kodi zake kisha utume kwa 4032353. 4032353, alafu utakuwa unaomoka na hizi bidhaa. Kumbuka, kwenye QuickBin ni bidhaa bora zaidi kwa bei ya chini kwa chini.
Next on.
Mimi nimefika mahali hata huyu mtoto Phenobarb dawa zake nimeshindwa. Amekaa bila kukunywa na akisituka. Hizo dawa ni ngumu kuzipata. Na siko na bei. Lazima akunywe tablet 3 kila siku.
The kind of poverty I'm talking about, there were situations when we could stay even for 2 days without having any meal. And when you come to our home, you could not notice that these children have not eaten. She had trained us so well. When you see visitors, don't show them your hunger.
'Cause we're differently abled, differently.
Did you know you can take up a funeral insurance, also known as last expense, for your loved ones? Consider taking a funeral cover to avoid unnecessary stress and fundraising when you lose a loved one. This policy covers funeral-related expenses such as burial fees, transportation costs, and grave preparation. Now you know. IRA, promoting insurance, protecting the insured.
Now welcome back, and let's have a look at other news, whereby transport along the River NAMANGA road was paralyzed for the better part of Saturday morning after a truck ferrying liquid petroleum gas rolled and blocked the busy highway. The driver is said to have lost control of the tanker amid heavy downpour before it veered off the road and rolled severely. The details of this and other highlights in the county news roundup.
Police cordoned off the accident scene and vehicles rerouted to create a room for the clearing of the accident scene. The driver of the truck and his standby were rushed to a nearby hospital for medical checkup.
Maskari wafanya kazi la maana. Sababu kuna abiria yote ama binadamu yote ambao wanakuja karibia karibu ni gas. Unajua gas yenyewe ni hatari. Sasa hakuna mtu yeyote ambaye alikaribia.
Wametoka wakiwa uhai, hakuna mtu mahali amegongwa wakiwa wazima. Lakini sasa ikasemekana wapeleke hospitali waende check up ya kuangaliwa kama kuna mahali wangekuwa wamevunjika ama mtu ajihisi uchungu. Lakini tunashukuru Mungu sana kwa sababu hakuna mtu ambaye amepata kukufa ama kuumia.
Meanwhile, the KIAMBU County government has embarked on a market upgrade project that will see the construction of 6 new markets in the region. The new markets are expected to enhance trade in the county by providing clean and safe working spaces for traders.
We also want to emphasize that even our smaller markets, because we have quite a number of other small markets, like Monyo, like Magogoni, Rusegate, there are also all kinds of small markets. We are also improving on them so that the trading environment is improved.
In Nyamira County, senators have vowed to sustain the war on graft and ensure accountability in the management of public resources. Speaking after inspecting various development projects in Nyamira County, the lawmakers said county bosses must ensure prudent utilization of every penny channeled to their coffers.
So we are giving you another time to be a school government. Do not take my answer as my opinion on the legal, but you can make an opinion on just a brief engagement. So engagement, forget the responses, engage the public service to get the right responses, and then we'll take it from there.
Tutaki kuona kwamba hizo pesa zinafujwa na kwenda kwa mifuko ya watu wachache.
Elsewhere, plans are underway to ensure recovered patients and newborns being discharged from Kenyatta National Hospital Othaya Annex go home with free fruit seedlings. The unique concept aims at improving nutrition as well as conserve the environment.
We are going to put up a nursery whereby every child who is born in this hospital, by the time they are discharged to go home, they must go home with a seedling. They must go home with either an avocado tree, a banana seedling, tree tomato, mango tree, or any other fruit tree, so that as they grow, they will also always remember that they are in Kenyatta National Hospital.
Finally, the Media Council of Kenya has condemned the continued intimidation and unwarranted attacks on journalists in Kiambu County. Media Council says journalists must be given space to operate without having to look over their backs.
Ningeomba kwa kila mtu anachukulia mwandishi wa habari kama ni binadamu kama mwingine, kama ni mfanyikazi kama mwingine, na tuwe tunaheshimiwa.
Jacqueline Masharia for Channel 1 News.
Now let's have a look at what is happening globally, where at least 163 Palestinians and 6 Israeli police officers have been hurt in clashes in Jerusalem. That is according to Palestinian medics and Israeli police. Most were injured at the Al-Aqsa Mosque, where Israeli police fired rubber bullets and stun grenades as Palestinians threw stones and bottles. Tensions have been rising over the potential eviction of Palestinians from land claimed by Jewish settlers.
The Red Crescent has opened a field hospital to treat the wounded. The Al-Aqsa Mosque complex in Jerusalem's Old City is one of Islam's most revered locations, but its location is also the holiest site in Judaism, known as the Temple Mount. The site is a frequent flashpoint for violence, which unfolded again on Friday night after thousands had gathered there to observe the last Friday of the Muslim holy month of Ramadan. Israeli police say they had used force to restore order due to the rioting of thousands of worshippers after evening prayers. Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas, meanwhile, said he held Israel responsible for the dangerous developments and sinful attacks. Elsewhere, hundreds of people have gathered in Mexico City to demand justice for those who were killed when a metro overpass collapsed earlier this week. Demonstrators converged from around the city and held a vigil at the site of the accident late on Friday. At least 26 people died and dozens more were injured in the collapse, which happened on an elevated track with history of safety concerns. The authorities have promised to carry out a full investigation.
Methali 6:20. Mwanangu, shika maagizo ya baba yako, wala usisahau mafundisho ya mama yako. Yaweke daima moyoni mwako, yafunge shingoni mwako, yatakuongoza njiani mwako, yatakulinda wakati ulalapo, yatakushauri uwapo macho mchana. Maana amri hiyo ni taa na sheria hiyo ni mwanga. Aha!
Ili kupata skiza tune ya Methali 6:20, bonyeza *811 *817#. Bonyeza *811 *817#.
Banki imeconfirm pesa zimeingia. Congratulations Sam, gari ni lako sasa.
Shukran. Oi boss, suniache insurance yako nitumie kabla nijipange. We! Insurance ya gari haiwezi kuwa transferred kwa mtu mwingine. Sina habari na nikuulize, hii comprehensive insurance inakava vitu gani?
Comprehensive Motor Insurance inakava gari linapoharibika wakati wa ajali, pamoja na uharibifu wa mali ya mtu mwingine, gari likiibiwa au likichomeka. Pia inakava passenger wa gari lako na passenger wa lile gari lingine kunapotokea ajali.
Kwani umenisahau mimi kama driver?
Dereva hakui covered na comprehensive insurance, ila anajitafutia personal accident cover.
Umenichanua. Rose, hata nishughulikie hiyo insurance, nitakujia gari kesho.
Okay, sawa.
Yeah.
Ujumbe huu umeletwa kwako na IRA. IRA, bima bora kwa taifa.
Tonight on KBC Channel 1.
Well, I'm not going to tell anybody I'm pregnant, Nora. Please listen to me. Don't tell anybody. Not a single soul, okay? I already know the reason why Lucio gave the letter to Amaya's daughter to separate her from Max.
And why?
Because Cesar forced him to write it.
Cesar?
Cesar.
These are the coordinates of the location of where the car fell and where they also found your shoe.
I can use this information to finally find where Lucretia decided to bury my mother. But there is nothing for me here.
How ungrateful you are. I thought you came here to ask for forgiveness after how you acted during the wait.
Next on.
Mimi nimefika mahali hata huyu mtoto Fenobab dawa zake nimeshindwa. Amekaa bila kukunywa na kaa akisituka. Hizo dawa ni ngumu kuzipata. Na siko na bei. Lazima akunywe tablet 3 kila siku.
The kind of poverty I'm talking about, there was situations when we could stay even for 2 days without having any meal. And when you come to our home, you could not notice that these children have not eaten. She had trained us so well. When you see visitors, don't show them your hunger.
'Cause we're differently abled, differently.
This weekend on KBC Channel 1.
Wiki hii kwenye Mkulima tutajiunga na vijana wa Mwengenye watufunze kuhusu kilimo mjini.
Mimi naamini kilimo ni career kama zile zingine, na it is very viable kama tu engineer ama lawyer. Pia farmer, it should be inafaa kwa hiyo category ya hiyo kubwa, maybe hao wenye wanasema ndio career, white collar jobs. So farming is a very important activity.
Usikose kujiunga nasi Jumapili saa 9:30 hapa KBC Channel 1 kwa mseto kamili wa kilimo.
Now let's have a look at what's happening in the world of sports. And Kenya Pipeline women's volleyball team veteran tactician Paul Gitau says the Africa Women's Volleyball Club Championship that was held in Calibia, Tunisia, played a pivotal role in exposing his young charges to continental assignments. The former African champions finished 5th overall, while arch rivals Kenya Prisons bagged bronze.
Veteran tactician Paul Gitau says time has come for Kenyan clubs to invest in young players so as to grow the sport of volleyball in the country. Gitau, who was at the touchline as the former African champions finished 5th at the Africa Club Championship, admits despite missing a number of regular players, the current squad gave their best.
I am building a team. I am building a team that we will win matches the next 5 years. I'm not in a hurry. I am not in a hurry. But I am building a team, the quality of the team. You know, building a team is not bringing players together. It is looking for the quality of players. What type of players? This one varies a lot. You don't bring a superstar who cannot listen to you. You don't bring a superstar who cannot keep teamwork.
Gitau said training outdoor because of the unavailability of the Nyao Indoor Arena and Kasarani Gymnasium contributed a lot to the results.
Building this, I cannot divert my attention. Even if what happens now, I am totally on a mission of building this team. And until it is there, even if it is a call-up to the national team.
His sentiments were echoed by David Lungaho, who said the performance by the two teams is a clear indication Kenya has a big pool of talented volleyball players.
The biggest thing is that the training was not quite enough for us. And more especially, the fact that we are training outdoors and we didn't have an opportunity, even a single minute, to train indoors.
Lungaho said there is need to include many young players in the national team for smooth transition.
We still have a very strong team. The fact that we missed 7 of our players didn't deter us from performing well. And I'm sure we are going to build on that and confirm even in the National League by winning the National League again. I'm sure we still have a very, very strong team. And it's my wish and my hope that these players that were making their debut have now gotten the feeling of how international competition is played.
Kenyan clubs are currently struggling at the Continental Arena compared to their North African counterparts, a situation that worries the two veteran tacticians. Karanja David for Channel 1 Sport.
Meanwhile, national boxing team assistant coach Dave Munuhe is adamant his squad will put up a good fight at the Konstantin Korotkov Memorial Championship that is slated for the 10th till the 16th of May in Russia. The Kenyan team will leave the country tonight ahead of the international assignment.
The boxers have been training since late last year after the government allowed national teams to prepare for international assignments following months of inactivity due to COVID-19 outbreak. The Kenyan coaches, led by Musa Benjamin and Dave Munuhe, will use the Konstantin Korotkov Memorial Championship to test the preparedness of Olympic-bound quartet Nico Koth, Elia Joy, Elizabeth Akinyi, and Christine Ongare, as well as to look at the potential of emerging boxers.
Vijana wako vizuri kiafya na pia kimawazo na wako tayari kwa mchezo ambao tunaenda kesho usiku kule Russia city ambayo inaitwa Khabarovsk. Tuko tayari na hadi sasa ni kwamba hatuna maumivu yoyote. Serikali imetusaidia na nauli ya ndege na mambo yote ambayo tunahitaji kule.
Game ya mchezo ya Russia ni ya kwenda kujipima, ujue ni gani hujafanya. Mtihani kubwa ni Tokyo. Sasa hii ya Russia ni kama mtihani tu ya shule ya kujipima kwa mtihani kubwa.
This will be the second international assignment for Hit Squad after bagging 13 medals, 1 gold, 5 silver and 7 bronze at the Africa Zone 3 Boxing Championship in the Democratic Republic of Congo in March.
Tangu tutoke Zone 3, tumekuwa tukitrain ambapo tuzisema tuko weak, tuko on point.
Karanja David for Channel 1 Sports.
Now, Kenya's Jane Denga and Sururu Asiye Mohammed lost to the French and Charlotte Fairbank by sets 6-0 at the Vilamoura Open in Portugal. The Kenyan duo were out-redeemed themselves after failing to sparkle in the singles event. Denga lost in the quarterfinals of the women's singles by straight sets, 6-love, 6-love to Charlotte Fairbank of France. Her compatriot Sururu Asiye Mohammed had lost to Wen Brita of Germany in the first round of the women's singles. Kenya's top seed Peter Mnuvo was also bundled out in the second round of the men's singles after losing by straight sets to Jay Sepulveda. The Kenya national wheelchair tennis team used the championship to qualify for the upcoming Tokyo Olympics. Now let's have a look at international sports. And Britain's Billy Joe Saunders has vowed to take the world titles from unified super middleweight champion, that is Saul Canelo Alvarez. Saunders, who defeated Martin Murray last December, is a WBO champion and yet to be beaten in his career. Mexican legend Canelo retained his WBA super title, WBC and the ring super middleweight titles in February when he outclassed Avni Yildirim. He took his record to an incredible 55 wins, and the four-weight world champion is widely regarded as the best pound-for-pound fighter on the planet. Canelo believes the match is a key step on his quest for domination as the heralded four-weight world champion looks to add Saunders' WBO belt to his WBA, WBC and the ring titles. Saunders is yet to suffer a defeat in 30 fights, and the two-weight world champion insists that he is supremely confident on what he believes will be among the biggest upsets in this, that sports has seen for 20 years. Now to some basketball action, and NBA champions Los Angeles Lakers dropped from the top 6 playoff places after losing 106-101 to the Portland Trail Blazers. It was Portland's second win from 3 matches against the Lakers in the season series. Meanwhile, leaders Utah Jazz strengthened their lead in the Western Conference following a 127-120 win over the Denver Nuggets. In the Eastern Conference, Philadelphia 76ers remain dominant after registering their 7th consecutive win with a 109-107 win over the New Orleans Pelicans. Damian Lillard recorded 38 points and 7 assists to lead the Portland Trail Blazers to a crucial 106-101 victory over the visiting Los Angeles Lakers as fans returned to Moda Center for the first time this season.
What I was saying in the first half when Caruso got one of his first buckets, he's got to be a major scorer in this one. Oh my goodness. Davis, one of the league's best, is getting a pretty open look. Oh, Lillard down the hatch.
CJ McCollum scored 21 points for the Trail Blazers, who moved into 6th place in the Western Conference while dropping the Lakers into 7th place.
Anthony Davis, playing despite leaving Thursday's night's game against the Los Angeles Clippers early on, registered 36 points, 12 rebounds and 5 assists for the Lakers, who lost for the 8th time in the past 10 games.
We're just competing to win as many games as we can, and wherever we land, we're confident. You know, obviously we want to finish in the top 6. We still have 5 games to make up some ground if that's possible, and you know, we'll continue to try to win as many of those games as we can. But you know, we're in an adjustment phase like we've been in all year. You know, we don't have our either of our 2 primary quarterbacks, and even not Talon. So the odds are stacked against us in a situation like this, and very proud of how our guys competed and, you know, had an opportunity to, you know, pull off a very difficult win.
Meanwhile, Bojan Bogdanovic scored a career-high 48 points to rally the Utah Jazz past the Denver Nuggets 127-120, maintaining top spot at the helm of the standings despite the Phoenix Suns' 128-105 win over the New York Knicks.
Here's Bogey. Drives it, hangs it, hits it. Morris didn't take the shot. Clarkson did not. Joe, the blender. Bogey, stop and pop. Got the bounce in the bucket. Clarkson maybe got away with an offensive push. Bogey paint, kick it up and in.
In the Eastern Conference, Joel Embiid had 7 points and 13 rebounds as the host Philadelphia 76ers held on for a 109-107 victory over the New Orleans Pelicans.
Joel getting rewarded, runs into a player and a blocking foul. Embiid indeed throwing it down.
Tobias Harris scored 17 points, Seth Curry added 16, and George Hill had 11 for the Sixers, who won their 7th in a row. Second place Milwaukee Bucks were 141-133 winners of the Houston Rockets. The Brooklyn Nets will be out to reclaim the second spot when they play the Denver Nuggets.
This season is exceptionally unique. That is the NBA season. Of course, normally you have 8 teams going into the playoff from the Eastern and the Western Conference. Only this time you have 6 teams qualifying for the playoffs in each conference. And of course, there is a playing round before the playoffs, meaning whoever finishes number 7 takes on number 8. Whoever finishes 9th plays number 10. And the winner between 7 and 8 of course, will await the loser, the winner between the team that finishes 9th, between 9th and 10. And be sure, of course, to stick around and, you know, observe our subsequent bulletins, sports bulletins, for more updates on how the playoffs are shaping up. 5 games left till the end of the regular NBA season. Now, elsewhere, Spanish giants Real Madrid and Barcelona and former Italian champions Juventus have issued a joint statement vowing to persevere in the pursuit of adequate solutions amid the fallout from the European Super League and what they see as threats from UEFA. The Super League was announced on April 18th, but within 72 hours it had fallen apart, with the English clubs withdrawing due to fan protest as well as government pressure.
9 of the original 12 European Super League clubs, including the Premier League's Big Six, declared their commitment to UEFA and its competitions at continental and domestic level on Friday. However, the 3 who have not renounced the European Super League, that is Real Madrid, Barcelona and Juventus, are said to face appropriate action under UEFA's disciplinary action. The 3 clubs released a coordinated statement today denouncing the intolerable pressure put on them by UEFA to drop the project. The 9 clubs who pulled out of the European Super League are back in the UEFA fold and have agreed to take all steps within their power to end their involvement in the breakaway league. However, a couple of measures have been taken against the 9 clubs as punishment. The clubs will make a combined €15 million goodwill contribution to benefit children's and grassroots football across Europe. They will also have 5% of UEFA competition revenues withheld for one season, with the money being redistributed. In a statement, UEFA says the clubs will also face fines of €100 million each if they seek to join an authorized competition in the future, and a fine of half that if they breach any other terms of the declaration. They are also expected to rejoin the influential lobbying group, that is the European Club Association.
And now Patrick Bamford scored for Leeds United as England manager Gareth Southgate watched as Leeds, of course, dented Tottenham's European chances. In an absorbing game at Ellen Road, Stuart Dallas, Patrick Bamford and Rodrigo confirmed Spurs' first league defeat in 3 games under interim manager Ryan Mason.
In an absorbing game at Elland Road, Stuart Dallas kept the hosts on lead in the 13th minute. However, the lead lasted 12 minutes with Son Wen-Ming equalizing with a clinical finish. Leeds responded through Bamford some minutes before halftime as Rodrigo's 84th minute goal sealing their 3-1 victory for the Whites. On a frustrating day for Spurs, Hurricane had 2 goals ruled out for offside and hit the bar from a free kick, while Ilan Melia produced an excellent save to keep out Serge Aurier's deflection attempt. After the win, Leeds moved to the 9th place with 50 points, while Spurs are 6th with 56 points with 3 games remaining.
Well, that brings us to the end of Channel One Weekend. With me, Richard Munga. Our sign language interpreter has been Byron Abuli. But before we leave, of course, an update, another EPL match ongoing as we speak. I'm talking about champions-elect, well, soon-to-be champions-elect Manchester City hosting Chelsea at the Etihad Stadium. Manchester City, of course, we have Raheem Sterling has already scored for City, while Hakim Ziyech has equalized for Chelsea, meaning the game is at 1-1 as it stands. Well, that's it from me, of course, and thank you to all those who made this bulletin possible. Always remember to log on to our website www.kbc.co.ke for more news. Do enjoy the rest of your viewing and have a good night.
Rainfall is expected to continue in several parts of the country tonight, with temperatures dropping to 14 degrees Celsius in Eldoret, making it the coldest. Good evening, welcome to your Channel 1 weather update. My name is Yusuf Farah. Now let's take a look at your tomorrow's weather forecast, shall we? And tomorrow morning in areas of the capital city, Nyeri, Meru and its environs, light rains, partly cloudy conditions with sunny intervals. Sunny intervals in the coastal region with the exception of Lamu, where showers are expected in the morning, accompanied by sunny intervals. In the northeastern region, rains in the morning accompanied by sunny intervals as well. In areas of Kisumu, Kitale, Kericho, Eldoret, all the way to Lodwar, rains in the morning accompanied by sunny intervals. In the afternoon, showers accompanied by thunderstorms in areas of Kisumu, Kitale, Kericho, Eldoret, all the way to Lodwar and its environs. The capital city rains continue with partly cloudy conditions and sunny intervals. Sunny intervals in the coastal region. In the northeastern region, however, there will be rains accompanied by sunny intervals. As far as the temperatures are concerned, highs of 33, lows of 25 in Mandera, 34 by 24 in Garissa, the capital city, Nairobi, highs of 24 and lows of 16. That's your local weather forecast. Many thanks for keeping it Channel 1. I'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place. Until then, do have yourselves a blessed night.
Vera Beauty College.
Vera Beauty and Fashion College, with branches in Nairobi, Eldoret, Thika and Meru. Did you know that we are a TVET approved institution? We offer courses in fashion design, interior design in soft furnishing, event decoration, flower arrangement, event planning, hairdressing, barbering and dreadlocks, beauty therapy, makeup, nail technology, spa massages, teaching skills, TOT, solo business management, and many more. Register now and visit our website on www.verabeautycollege.com. You can also call on 0725 923 550 Nairobi branch, 0728 087 689 Eldoret branch, 0722 227428 Thika branch, 0725 000 706 Meru branch. Vera Beauty and Fashion College, a TVET approved institution.
Jumapili hii kwenye runinga ya KBC, ungana naye Askofu Michael Wanderi wa kanisa la Christian Foundation Fellowship Kiambu kuanzia saa 1 hadi saa 2 asubuhi.
Ningetaka nikwambie, our Jehovah God, because the Bible says he is the same yesterday, today and forevermore. He is able to take you to a place of abundance. He is able to take you to Rehoboth in the name of Jesus Christ.
Kipindi ni neno la neema, ukiletewa naye Askofu Michael Wanderi wa kanisa la Christian Foundation Fellowship Kiambu. Usikose.
On the next episode of Ashoka,
my mother, Minister Kallata, grandmother Helena, and Siamak were also part of council.
Remember your promise.